It's nice to have a bye week. Our guys are as healthy and as fresh as we've been in a long, long time, which is very much needed. We were running on fumes there the last few ball games of that stretch there on October, and it was obvious that the 4 games in 19 days and 5 games in the month of September, caught up to us a little bit, and we needed to not only get our bodies right, but really decompress mentally and take a nice big exhale and say, all right, we've made it this far, and we've got a very successful season going, and need this break to kind of recharge the batteries a little bit, and was excited about what I saw last night. We had a short, less than an hour-long practice in shorts, but the guys were flying around, very energetic, very positive, and very confident. So I like where we're at. The work that we did last week allows us to taper off practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so that when we hit when we jog out of that tunnel Saturday at 2:30, we're a very fresh, very energetic, very healthy football team. Questions?
Coach, from last night when you were going over the guys who are back, we forgot to ask about Rogers and
Natai is back, yes, and I forgot to mention Isaiah Johnson as well, still dealing with a concussion. I think today he started the first return to play part of that protocol, so I think we might be able to get him. He's going to miss a lot of practice, so he'd be an emergency guy. Natai is probably about 75%. He can go, but right now Braylon is playing better than a banged up Natai, so that's why he is where he is on the depth chart.
Coach, what is the biggest thing you would say that your team has learned about themselves through that first half?
Well, it's been more than a half.
Or
Yeah.
the first part.
First 9 games.
Yeah, right.
I think the biggest thing we learned in the second half of the UCF game is that there's still the same guys sitting in this team meeting room that pretty handily beat Oklahoma, that went to Nippert Stadium in a blackout and took on some adversity, trailing in the fourth quarter, and came out like gangbusters and handled that adversity. And so I think we proved to ourselves more than anybody. We don't care about proving ourselves to anybody outside this building, but we proved to ourselves that when we go out and execute our training, and when we go and we play really hard, and we do exactly what we're supposed to do, play after play after play, then we're really good. And when we don't, when we turn the ball over, when we try to press, when we do things outside of ourselves, when our bodies aren't quite at 100%, then we're not really good. And so I think we came away from that game specifically in the second half with a ton of confidence, saying, hey, if we can do this against a good football team in UCF in one half and respond the way that we responded, with hardly anybody in the stands, with a lot of adversity from our own constituency, it was it garnered a sense of confidence, confidence, not a word, but gave us the confidence, I think, back that we had at the beginning of the season.
Is that when you think teams are most dangerous, when they have that us against the world mentality in teams that you've been with before?
Yeah, you always like being the underdog. You always kind of like being disrespected. You kind of like the us against the world mentality, because it really, really draws the bond within that locker room a lot closer.
Tom, just want to get your thoughts on Coach Fritz, and also a lot of the new coaches in this conference. Seems like there's a lot of energy with some of these new coaches that have been
Yeah,
hired.
I was counting in the West, 5 out of the 6 are in their second year or less, and then in the East, I think Diaco's in his 3rd year, and then Scott Frost and Scotty Montgomery are in their 1st year. So I think that's 9 out of 12 coaches that are 3 or less years at their place. So I think Willie Fritz is one of the greatest men in this profession today. Unbelievable role model for young coaches, and has had success everywhere he's been as a head coach. With I think 13 years at Central Missouri, and then the run he had at Sam Houston, and then obviously Georgia Southern and now Tulane, has been remarkable, really. I had a chance to get to know Coach Fritz a long time ago when I was coaching at Sam Houston under Ron Randleman, because he was an assistant at Sam under Ron Randleman as well, and Coach Randleman introduced us, and we hit it off, and I've got a tremendous amount of respect, not just for the wins and losses, but just kind of the way he conducts his business, and the kids love him, and they play really, really hard for him, and I know the season's probably not going quite as he wished, but you can tell they're playing with a tremendous amount of energy and passion, and it won't be long until they're a force to be reckoned with on a week-by-week basis in this conference.
Tommy, you caught my ear a little bit when you said taper off during practice this week. That sounds a little bit different than Bloody Tuesdays and stuff. Is that an adjustment that you made?
No, it's the amount of time, not necessarily the intensity, just the amount of time. We'll still be full pads Bloody Tuesday tomorrow and go about our business, but we've had multiple scout periods already in terms of working our offenses and defenses against the scout team and the Tulane looks, that we don't need as many of them. Now the intensity when we're out there is going to be off the charts, as intense as it ever will be, but just the sheer amount of time will be a lot less.
Is there something bye week that you focused on beyond just recharging physically, mentally, specifically with your football team?
No, that was it. I mean, we had the high rep guys. We practiced Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of last week, and the high rep guys, I think, were only out there for like 30, 40 minutes. So they got, and by high rep, most of our starters got. I mean, we've got some guys. Tyler McCluskey's played like 800 snaps, and in 9 games, that's a lot. And so a bunch of those guys, they got their scout work in, got some individual work in, and then they went inside with Coach McKnight and his crew and did a lot of, the stretching and foam rolling and, all the stuff to kind of, continue to get the bodies right, ice tubs and a lot of physical therapy type stuff to kind of take as much off of their legs as we can and get those re-energized, and I think we accomplished that based on what I saw last night. Our guys were flying around pretty good.
Tom, obviously the physical benefits of having the bye are there, but from a mental standpoint, where do you see this kind of helping these guys out?
Well, I think it just gives us a chance to exhale. It's 4th and inches every time these guys step in the building here, and that they can wear on you mentally, over and over again. And then, to have a stretch there where I think we all knew that we weren't playing to our level of ability, but it was because, we were fatigued mentally and physically, but also because we were pressing and not responding to adversity very well, and then to have that second half against UCF to kind of validate everything that we've been preaching as coaches and come away from that game with a win. I told the team maybe the most gratifying win in our short time here as a coaching staff, simply because of how much adversity they did overcome in such a short amount of time. And again, now the adversity was self-inflicted. Don't get me wrong. We've got to clean a lot of things up, but I think, you know, that half leading into the bye week from a mental standpoint was really, really positive, to be able to have that confidence and to be able to build off of it.
And then with Tulane, obviously it appears like a offense that likes to run the ball a lot, and be another opportunity for the defense to kind of build upon some of that run stopping.
Yeah, very unique. You know, it's something Willie's done since his time at Sam Houston. In terms of, there's a lot of triple option principles in it, but yet he's doing it from the shotgun, doing it from more of a zone blocking scheme than a traditional, you know, double slot wing like Navy or whatever that's running veer and midline and all of that. So very unique, and the uniqueness doesn't stop there. It's you know, most option teams, that's kind of all they do, where they do a really good job of running just some traditional run game as well from the shotgun. So yeah, it'll be a really good test for our defense. You don't need to change your defense completely like you do when you play a team like Navy, because the schemes are different, but you definitely, on every single snap and every single defensive call, you better make sure that if they do run triple option, that you have somebody for the dive, somebody for the pitch, and somebody for the quarterback. So that presents some unique challenges, certainly, but yeah, I'm excited to see our defense fresh and healthy and running around out there.
A lot of people saw the video that was posted last week with what you did for, and the dentist did for Anthony. Can you talk a little bit about that relationship that you formed with him, and how special it is for you now to see his life changed by that just one act? I think that's what you had said in that video.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to you, Joseph, for uncovering that. That obviously wasn't intended for the public, but I don't mind Joseph finding that. But yeah, it's just a guy, I just see him working so hard every day. He's always got a smile on his face, and I just like rewarding people that work hard and don't complain about it and don't fuss. And so I got to know him a little bit. I mean, really, our first conversation was really me offering my help, and then he kind of took it from there and got the estimate, and the estimate was really high, and so I then went to Dentique and went there and met with the doctors and said, hey, is there something we can kind of meet in the middle on? And they agreed, and it's really, really gratifying knowing that you can change people's lives that deserve it.
Is it kind of you have such a strong commitment to love in the program, kind of a practice what you preach type deal, showing love for people that not necessarily are within the program, but still put in so much work, and so your team can see, hey, this is what we all are.
Yeah, I consider him part of the program. I consider everybody that steps foot in this building a part of the program. And you know, if it touches our players, it being the building, it being the people that take the trash out, it being academics, strength staff, training staff, all of the other sports that we share this building with affect our players. And on some small way, some bigger than others, you know, are indirectly responsible for wins and losses. And I wanted certainly to, I guess, show an example of, hey, when you work hard around here, you get rewarded. And oftentimes, again, Anthony, myself and him, other than a hey, go Cougs, walking down the hall, had never even spoken for a year and a half. But I watched, and I watch everybody in this building because I want to know how are they affecting my team. And he was a guy that stood out that I watched for a year and a half very closely, and said, now's the time. You've earned this without me without you even knowing that I was watching.
Coach, on freshmen, especially linemen, Ed Oliver, realistically, if you take away the hype and the stars, what is a usual, or how should I put it, progression for a young guy like that in terms of how much you throw at them, even if they get on the field as a freshman, versus what he's been able to do this year?
Yeah, I think D linemen are certainly different than offensive linemen. 9 out of 10 true freshman offensive linemen redshirt. Obviously, Braylon is a unique case because he's so talented and ridiculously smart. He was a valedictorian. But to answer your question to Ed, I think most D linemen when they play as true freshmen, they're lacking in something. Whether it's they don't use their hands well because they're used to in high school just being able to lean on people, or they're not quite strong enough to shed blocks as well as you'd like because they haven't been around a college off-season program. But so there's usually a deficiency here or there that you try to improve as quickly as you can. But with Ed, there was minimal deficiencies. I think Ed can, it's not going to happen this season, but I think Ed needs to put on another, 10, 15 pounds of girth, of just mass. So when he plays against those 320, 330-pound guards in the run game, he doesn't get swallowed up. And then I think he needs to continue to develop his pass rush moves. But yeah, it's very unique to see a true freshman come in and have the skill set that he has with minimal technical deficiencies.
He said last night that the Oklahoma game was kind of the way that they approached him was, hey, let's go after the freshman type, and then he mentioned about the double teams and triple teams. He called it the story of his life.
Yeah, he's pretty used to getting double and triple teamed in high school. There's not many college or high school offensive lines that can block him with a single guy. Sometimes even two guys aren't enough. So yeah, we're starting to see that a little bit, and that's okay. That's last time I checked, if you're using two guys to block one, then you're leaving somebody else free. And so I think that's his job right now is to recognize when he is getting double teamed and make sure that he eats both of those blocks up throughout the course of the play so that they can't climb, one guy climb off late off that double team to the linebackers.
Coming out of the bye week, where do you think your run game is? Where does it need to be, and how important is it for you to close it out the stretch drive here?
It needs to be better. I think we've taken a lot of strides. Having Duke back was big, and he missed a few cuts here and there, and slipped on fourth down, and so he was a bit rusty. But to have him back now for 2 weeks has been good, and again, have Noble back at center, and then kind of a bit of consistency there up front. We're still a work in progress up front. I don't think there's any doubt about that, but I feel good about our improvement that we've made throughout the last week and a half, and I think a lot of it is just the consistency of who's in there and who they're working with, and because so much of offensive line play is so interdependent. I've got to be able to communicate with you that's next to me, and we got to be on the same page on how we're going to get this play blocked, and I think we're seeing a lot more comfort in that communication and execution right now. And now we got to go put it on the field on Saturdays, but I feel good in terms of the direction that we're headed.
Tom, with Linnell out against UCF, Keith Corbin and Courtney Lark got to play some more meaningful snaps. What did you take away from them in that UCF game? And do you think that maybe they're starting to make some progress to where they can contribute a little bit more?
I think Keith is, yeah, definitely. And with Isaiah still being out, as an outside receiver, or if Isaiah is out for the game, then Keith's going to have to play more. And in this program, you got to do it in practice. And I think that's one thing that they're finally learning is, hey, you have a good week in practice, Keith, guess what? You're going to play. I mean, in a in a tight spot and in a very meaningful game. And but if you don't show us in practice that you're capable of it, then you're not. And so I think Keith especially has made those strides. Courtney's still a bit inconsistent at practice, but is getting better. Yeah, I'm excited to see those guys. And, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday here this week will be pretty important to their level of playing time.
Coach, the past 2 seasons, your only losses have been on the road. Does it make you feel any better that 2 of your last 3 games are here at home?
Absolutely, yeah. Winning is really hard. Winning on the road is even harder, and especially to have a Thursday night game, but be at home, I think is really good. And our guys, again, we're undefeated at home, and knock on wood, that's not by accident. Our guys are they get pretty cranked up to play in that great stadium, and as well they should.